I love the movie Cars. It's got racing, it's got romance, and it's got my favorite band of all time, Rascal Flatts. It's also got a whole heck of a lot of cars with eyes and tongues for some reason. Funny looking. This iconic franchise introduced an entire generation of kids to cars. So today, I'm gonna rank every car in the Cars series according to my impeccable taste. We're gonna dissect the expansive world of cars and even talk some conspiracy theories. Spoiler alert, there's some pretty weird ones out there. Big ol' thank you to our friends at Omaze for sponsoring today's episode of Wheelhouse. We've partnered with Omaze yet again to give away this badass 2018 Dodge Demon with taxes and shipping included, plus $20,000.
I hear you're giving away a badass Dodge Demon? One that can do 0 to 60 in 2.1 second and a quarter mile in the nines?
It's not the time right now, Doug.
Unless they're so hellish it comes stock with drag tires, even though the NHRA banned it from drag racing? Oh, I can smell its evilness.
Actually, this Demon supports a really good cause. Every donation you make helps the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, the same place that helped our pal James Pumphrey and saved his life.
I'm actually not allowed in hospitals anymore, but it's not what you think, alright?
Well, good luck to you. Head on over to omaze.com/donutmedia for your own chance to win. Now let's get back to the show.
Hey, can you tell me what this does? Is that French?
Just a quick note up top, this list excludes tractors, boats, planes, and background characters. The cars on this list are ones with notable speaking roles, plus 1 or 2 fun ones that we couldn't leave off the list. Our amazing writer Lori compiled all the cars into a list. I rank them, and Joe is gonna bring me the list right now. Let's get started. Starting off our list at number 80 is Stanley, the founder of Radiator Springs. Number 79, RV Motorhome. It's a play on words, RV. Just named him RV. Kinda lazy. Number 78 through 74 is the Lemon Gang. Number 73, Fair Game. I think he's a Fair Lane. Ford Fair Lane, maybe. Number 72, Roscoe. Number 71, Miss Fritter. Number 70 is Sir Harley Gassup. He hangs out with the Queen, and he's actually modeled off of a Tatra 87. That's a pretty unknown car. That took some pretty deep knowledge. Number 69, the Queen, based off of a Rolls-Royce Phantom 4. Number 68 and 67 are Professor Z's henchmen named Grem and Acer, based off of AMC Gremlin and AMC Pacer. At number 66, you got 2 cars sharing a slot, Professor Zundap and Miles Axelrod, the villains of Cars 2. I thought the reveal of Miles as the real villain was really weak and kind of predictable. And Professor Zundap is a very interesting concept, but just didn't really work for me, just like the Cars 2 overall didn't really work for me. So that's why they share number 66. Number 65, Leyland Turbo, weird name. Number 64, Ivan the Tow Truck. And at number 63 is Otis. He's the only lemon in Cars 2 that isn't a bad guy either. Continuing our list, at number 62, Luke Pedalwork. He's the King's pit guy. All right, number 61, we've got Mel Dorado, obviously based off the 1967 Cadillac El Dorado. He's one of the only characters that wears glasses, which I really like. Next up on the list, number 60 is Sterling, who is voiced by Nathan Fillion, great actor. He's based on the BMW 2000 CS. His side profile is actually very recognizable. I'm not even a BMW guy, and I knew right away that it was a Beamer. Number 59, we got Pope Pinion IV. He's based on a US spec BMW. He's the Pope, he wears a big old mitre. I'd like to take a moment here to talk about the confusing and flawed logic of the world of cars, okay? It's a hotly debated topic, and there are several theories out there regarding the dark truths of the humanless world Lightning McQueen and his pals live in. So let's start there, with the lack of humans. John Lasseter was determined that in this world, the cars are the humans, but it's clear from context clues in the movies like door handles, human-built landmarks, and the presence of a Catholic Pope and TSA lines that humans were a part of things in this world, at least at some point. So what happened to him? Creative director of the Cars world, Jay Ward, who also wrote a top secret document called The World of Cars Owner's Manual, offered a theory in 2017, and it's pretty dark for Disney. He stated, quote, "If you think about this, we have autonomous car technology coming in right now. It's getting to the point where you can sit back in the car and it drives itself. Imagine in the near future where the cars keep getting smarter and smarter, and after one day they just go, why do we need human beings anymore? They're just slowing us down. It's just extra weight. Let's get rid of them. But the car takes on the personality of the last person who drove it. Whoa!
It's a conspiracy, man!
The one flaw in that theory is that there are a lot of old cars in the Cars universe that are not self-driving at all, so that doesn't really make any sense. There's a lot of crazy theories about cars out there if you want to get sucked into it, including like their anatomy and the fact that they pee oil and eat sushi and all that. I don't really want to talk about it on this video, but it's certainly out there if you're interested. Now back to the list. Number 58 is Corey Turbowitz. She's based on the 97 Ford Puma. She's spunky and upbeat and has that press sticker. At number 57, we've got David Hobbscap, like hubcap, but voiced by David Hobbs, commentator. He was a former F1 driver. He's based on a Jaguar E-Type, and his voice is super recognizable.
Well, I think you need to clean your windshield.
Then you've also got Brent Mustangberger right next to him. He's a 64.5 Mustang Coupe, voiced by Brent Musburger, also a sports commentator, very funny. Then we've got Natalie Certain, Shannon Spokes, Tom Burr, who's based on a Reliant Regal three-wheeler. Number 52, we've got Danny Swervez, voiced by Daniel Suarez. He's a next-gen driver in Cars 3. Then we got Brickyard Lee, Bobby Swift, Cal Weathers, voiced by Kyle Petty at number 49. These are all stock cars that get blown out by the next-gen cars in Cars 3. Even in Cars 1, it's pretty amazing that they were able to get so many car personalities for the Cars franchise. And by Cars 3, it had grown so much that getting drivers like Kyle Petty and Daniel Suarez, kind of a no-brainer. Number 48, we got Mama Topolino. And then right in front of her is Uncle Topolino, who's based on a 1937 Fiat 500 Topolino. These are great characters, super fun. Number 46, we've got Mia and Tia, which, what does that spell? Miatia or Miata. They're NA Miatas, huge Lightning McQueen fans.
We're like your biggest fans!
They come back through the franchise. Oh yeah, they flash their pop-up headlights. I don't know if that's an adult joke or something, kind of weird. At number 45 and 44, we've got the minivan couple that comes and goes throughout the franchise. It's Van and Minnie. Van is based on a Ford Windstar, and Minnie is based on a Dodge Caravan. Number 43, it's Jay Limo with an enormous chin. Kind of looks like a Lincoln Town Car a little bit. Voiced by Jay Leno. Probably wouldn't have been in a Pixar movie if it wasn't about cars. He wouldn't come out of that garage unless it was for more cars. Next up, we got Junior at number 42. Voiced by who else but Dale Earnhardt Jr. You can kind of always tell when an athlete is doing a voiceover line because their delivery is super flat.
Good luck in your last race. You sure been an inspiration to me.
But you know what? Dale did his best. Next up at number 41 is Sven, obviously influenced by Arnold. Sven is a Humvee. He's got like a mohawk on top, which is super funny. At number 40, we have Mater. And yes, I know Mater is like super iconic. Kids love him. He's got a funny voice.
He did what in his cup?
I think he's kind of obnoxious. I think he works great as like a side character, but to base the entirety of Cars 2 around Mater was such a misstep. Number 39, you got Red, who I don't know if has any lines in the movie, but he's the fire truck of Radiator Springs. He's always watering his plants, and I think that's just cute. Number 38, you got the Sheriff, who's based on the 1949 Mercury. He's got a flathead V8, which is sick. He's a little ornery. One of my favorite details of Sheriff is his grill is also his mustache, which is great. Next up at 37, Sarge, who is of course a Willys Jeep. His license plate reads 41WW2, which is the same year that US involved itself in World War II. Speaking of Easter eggs, let's talk about more of them. One of the coolest things about this franchise is the sheer amount of Easter eggs packed into it. The leading tire company in these films is called Lightyear, and it's both a nod to Buzz Lightyear and Goodyear. Take a closer look and you can see etchings on the side of the tires that read Sector 4 Gamma Quad, which is where Buzz Lightyear himself is from. There are actually a few Toy Story shoutouts in Cars, like Dynaco. It's the gas station in Toy Story and is all over the Cars movies. And you can catch the Pizza Planet truck, which shows up in almost every Pixar movie outside the track on race day in the first Cars movie. Lightning McQueen's number, 95, is a reference to the year Toy Story was released. The Cars license plates also contain a lot of fun Easter eggs. Luigi is a diehard Ferrari fan, and his license plate reads the coordinates for the Ferrari plant in Italy. And Fillmore's plate is the birth date of George Carlin, who voices our favorite Stony VW van. The VW Beetles in this world are little flocks. In Cars 3, the character Smokey is named after legendary auto mechanic and team owner Smokey Yunick. Could also be interpreted as a nod to Smokey Nagata, but I think Yunick is probably way more likely. These are just some of my favorites. If you know any other cool Easter eggs in the Cars movies, let me know in the comments. Now let's get back to the list.
Come on, let's go!
Number 36, one of my favorite characters of Radiator Springs is Lizzie. Of course, the Tin Lizzie, the Ford Model T two-door sedan. She knew Stanley, was in love with Stanley. She suffers from a bit of memory loss. Number 35, Fillmore, the Volkswagen Type 2 bus. He makes his organic fuel man, and he has some funny bumper stickers like Save 2D Animation. Number 34, Ramon, voiced by Cheech Marin. The lowrider changes his color all the time. Based off of 1959 Chevy Impala. Number 33, you got Flo, based on 1957 Motorama show car with also some elements of a 1951 Buick LeSabre. Flo has like the best business in Radiator Springs in my opinion. She's got the cafe. At number 32, you got Michael Schumacher as a Ferrari. I put him at number 32, not out of disrespect, but because 32 was his racing number when he first started Formula One in 1991. 31 through 28 is the tuner gang in Cars 1 that pretty much put the whole plot in motion after they like scare Mac off the road. You have DJ, who's like the Scion XB. You got Boost, who's kind of like an S14. He's kind of like an amalgamation of a bunch of Nissans mixed together. And then you got Wingo, who is kind of like a Eclipse, like a second gen Eclipse. He's kind of like a reference to Fast and Furious. And then you got my favorite of that tuner gang, Snot Rod, who's basically like a Challenger, and when he sneezes, his exhaust comes out of his headers, and he's got a big old blower. I love that. I wonder if cars are born with blowers or if that's like a nose piercing or something. I don't know. 27 and 26, you got the Rusty's Reps. These guys are voiced by Ray and Tom Maglizio, aka Click and Clack from NPR's Car Talk. Iconic radio program, still the #1 car podcast in the world. I will be chasing them for the rest of my life, I guess. Check out Past Gas. Dusty is a Dodge A100 van, and Rusty is a 63 Dodge Dart. So you know I love those guys. I'm a huge Mopar guy. Number 25, you got Mario Andretti as his Holman Moody Ford Fairlane. This is what Andretti drove in the 1967 Daytona 500. Super cool that they also got Mario in here. Cool guy. He drove me one time. Can't believe that happened. Number 24, you got Rod Redline, voiced by Bruce Campbell. He's kind of like a Mustang Challenger hybrid. Challenger in the front, Mustang in the back. Oh yeah. I kind of wish this guy had more screen time because he looks really cool. And Bruce Campbell is kind of a legend, but he dies a horrific death in a children's movie, so cool. Number 23, you got Holly Shiftwell. She kind of looks like a Jaguar XJ220. I think she's like a good character in Cars 2. Number 22 through 19 is Doc's old gang back in his hometown. You got Junior Moon, who is a 1940 Ford Coupe, voiced by Junior Johnson, who is actually the guy who discovered drafting in NASCAR. It's amazing. Then you got River Scott, who's based off of Wendell Scott, the first African-American to win a NASCAR race. If you want to learn more about him, check out Past Gas. Then you got Louise Nash, voiced by esteemed character actress Margot Martindale. She's a 1950 Nash ambassador. She's based off of Louise Smith, who is the first woman to be inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame. She won 38 races between 1947 and 1956. She also had some crazy crashes. One crash, she had 48 stitches and 4 pins in her left knee. It's pretty gnarly. This car shows just how much research the team did while making cars. So let's talk more about that. While I was rewatching all 3 of these movies back to back, one thing I couldn't help but wonder is how Pixar animators tackled this gigantic task of creating an entire world for anthropomorphic cars. In the early stages of bringing his concept to life, director John Lasseter knew that he wanted the cars to be expressive like humans, but still move and look like real cars. In order to make this a reality, the animators had to employ some never-before-seen techniques. One of the biggest challenges they faced was creating the shiny gloss texture of the cars. They needed to be reflective of the environment around them to bring the world to life in a very visually appealing and realistic way. Pixar had never had to do that before. So for the first time, Pixar used a rendering technique called ray tracing that would add accurate reflections to the characters in cars to every scene of the movie. A similar yet primitive version of ray tracing was what made the original Gran Turismo so unique back in the mid-90s. John Lasseter also wanted the movie to be accurate and authentic for all of us cars and racing enthusiasts out there. All the animators spent a few days at racetracks with real race cars and went on guided tours of the historic Route 66, which sounds like heaven for boomers. Sound engineers also visited racetracks all over the US to catch authentic track sounds, which is awesome. When it came time to cast the movie, they really pulled out the big guns. Real racers, sports broadcasters, and reporters were cast to make the movie feel authentic for all the racing fans that would inevitably watch the movie. I mean, as we said, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was in there, you had Mario Andretti, Junior Johnson. They got a hold of everyone from the racing world, even if it was just for one line. Yes, we all love Owen Wilson, and some of us love Larry the Cable Guy, even though Mater is very annoying. But the real heroes of cars are the folks behind the scenes. Back to the list. Number 19, you have Smokey, who was Doc Hudson's mentor, a 1946 Hudson pickup, which I love. All right, we're getting closer. We're at number 18. It's Luigi, who is a 1959 Fiat 500. He owns the tire shop. He's bilingual in Italian and English. Love Luigi. Number 17, Cruz Ramirez from Cars 3. She's got a lot of different sports car elements to her. She's kind of like a FRS almost. She's Lightning's trainer in Cars 3. And I think she's actually a really great character. She starts off kind of like overeager and all that, but as the movie progresses, you really start to like her, and then she wins that last race. And it's a great moment. Number 16, Bob Cutlass, and number 15, Daryl Cartrip. These guys are in every Cars movie. Of course, voiced by Bob Costas and Daryl Waltrip, two legendary sportscasters. Number 14, 13, and 12 are the other cars competing against Lightning McQueen in the World Grand Prix in Cars 2. You got Miguel Camino, which is a hilarious name. He's kind of just like a generic sports car. And you got Raul Carul, who's based on a Citroen C4 World Rally car, particularly Sebastian Loeb's Citroen C4 WRC car. And then you got Jeff Gorvette. He's a C6 Corvette. It's a pretty lazy pun, but he's also voiced by Jeff Gordon, which is pretty awesome. Number 11, we've got Lewis Hamilton. In Cars 2, he kind of looks like a McLaren, and then in Cars 3, he's like a voice assistant. I love that they have Lewis Hamilton. I put him this high on the list because he's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're down to the final 10 cars of the Cars franchise. I think if you take all 10 of these cars and put them together in a single image, you're like, oh yeah, that's the essence of Cars. So let's get into it. At number 10, you got Guido, pit guy of Radiator Springs. He's inspired by a BMW Isetta. He's got little forklift arms, which isn't very Isetta of him. But anyway, he can do anything. He's a one-man pit crew. Fastest little hands in the West, and I just love Guido so much. The only English that he knows is pit stop, which I think is great. Pit stop. Number 9 is, I think, the strongest antagonist of the Cars series, Jackson Storm, the next-gen car that comes in and changes the entire game. He's not evil, he's just really good and just kind of pushes Lightning McQueen to his limits. Sure, he's a little gaslighty, but I think he's just really cocky because he knows he's the best. He's voiced by Armie Hammer, and he's kind of like a Le Mans car, kind of resembles a Cadillac CN. Number 8, you got Finn McMissile, who's voiced by Michael Caine. He's a Aston Martin DB5. He's a classic Bond car. He's got guns for some reason, but he's also got a lot of gadgets. He's a really likable character. Michael Caine really brings a lot of presence to Finn McMissile. Number 7, you got Sally Carrera, Lightning's love interest. She's always supporting him through everything. She's based on a 2002 996 series Porsche 911 Carrera, hence her last name. You can tell Porsche had a lot of control over her appearance because Sally, of all the cars in the series, probably looks the most like the car that she's based off of. She was originally gonna be a Mustang, but then they opted for a more like feminine look of the Porsche over a Mustang. Number 6, one of the best characters in the entire franchise, Chick Hicks. He's based on the Buick Grand National, voiced by the amazing Michael Keaton. He's just so cocky, and I just love him. Great character and great design. Really captures that old school NASCAR look. Number 5, Lightning McQueen. Very generic looking stock car. He's not number 1, even though he is the main character of the series, because not a lot of growth throughout the series, in my opinion. He's kind of just the same kind of jerk to Mater every movie and never really learns, so that's why he's at number 5, but of course you couldn't have this franchise without him.
Kapow!
At number 4, my favorite character from Cars 2 and one of the funniest in the Cars series is Francesco Bernoulli, voiced by John Turturro. He's an F1 car. He's named after the Bernoulli principle, which basically lets cars be sucked to the ground or lets planes fly. Just great character. I kind of wish they didn't make him like fully Italian colors because that's kind of stereotypical, I would think. Bernoulli is a great name because it's an Easter egg that kids probably don't understand and maybe some adults, but it shows the team's attention to detail.
My mama is right here.
All right, our top 3 cars. At number 3 is Mack. I love Mack, voiced by John Ratzenberger, based on like an 80s era Mack semi-truck. He's got some of the best lines in the series, and he's just so lovable. Like, he's this big, lovable goof. He did fall asleep on the road, but that was Lightning's fault. Just incredibly loyal to Lightning McQueen and a very positive guy, and just great character design as well. John Ratzenberger has been in pretty much every Pixar movie, as demonstrated at the end of Cars 1 when he's watching Pixar movies at the drive-in theater.
What kind of a cut-rate production is this?
Number 2 and number 2.5. Number 2.5, you got Linda Weathers, and at number 2, you got the King, aka Strip Weathers. Linda is a 74 Town & Country station wagon, and the King is, of course, a 1970 Plymouth Superbird, one of my favorite cars in the entire world. I think it's amazing that they got Richard Petty to be in this movie, and I wouldn't have chose a better car to demonstrate a legendary character like Richard Petty or the King in the Cars universe. He's a 7-time Piston Cup champion. The King's crash seems to be based on Richard Petty's Daytona 500 '88 crash, which is a cool detail. And I just love the grabber blue paint job and that his wife matches, and they're together because they're always together on screen.
Wouldn't be nothing without you.
All right, number 1. My number 1 pick is Doc Hudson, voiced by Paul Newman. He's based off the 1951 Hudson Hornet, which is a real car. He's just like a great mentor to Lightning McQueen. Turn left to go right, such a great piece of advice. Paul Newman himself was a very accomplished race car driver, loved racing, so it's very appropriate that he voiced Doc. I just love Doc so much. Maybe it is my 50s car patina love that influenced that pick, but I really think that he is certainly one of the most complex characters in the Cars franchise, but also has one of the coolest designs as well, and just imparts a lot of knowledge on Lightning McQueen. And for that reason, he is number 1.
You got a lot of stuff, kid.
All right, so that's my list. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. I had a lot of fun making this one. I hope you liked it as well. Follow Donut on all social media at Donut Media. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes. Please consider subscribing and check out our Donut Underground. You get access to a Discord server, behind the scenes videos. You get early access to merch and special stickers. It's for the hardcore donut fans out there, so check that out. Be kind. I'll see you next time.